Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder and, as I say, fearless leader of Texit Coin. We've got some weird technical difficulties outside of the rocket ship, as you can see. I don't know. Every time it changes, just when I think I have it all dialed in and working properly, something goes wrong. Well, such is life. Here we go. As you know, I like to start promptly and on time. And so it's 6 o'clock. Let's begin. 218 people, 220 people here so far. Thanks so much, everyone, for taking time out of your Thursday night or whatever today is. This is going to be an exciting call for some of you, and it's going to be an incredibly boring call for others because I've been asked to do the official introduction at Texit Coin, start to finish, top to bottom, soup to nuts, anything and everything. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. I don't even prepare for these. I never did. I get up in front of a crowd at a barbecue joint, a year ago, and whatever comes to me is what ends up being the presentation. I really can't do like slideshows. If I try to match up my words with whatever it is that's on the screen, it never works and I mess up and it's an embarrassing disaster. So no slideshow for you, just me and Truby over here off screen. He is probably the one that broke our wonderful dialed in camera setup. Such is life. But let's begin. So if you're already way too familiar with the story and you don't want to be bored for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, hour, 2 hours, feel free to disconnect. Worry not, we are recording. If you want to hear it the official way, tune in, stick around, grab some popcorn, and let's begin. 266 people on this call so far. Okay, so I'm Bobby Gray, as I mentioned, and I started Texit Coin. And, look, the $1 million question in everyone's mind, of course, if you're new here, is whether or not this is a scam. And I don't intend to directly answer that question for you because ultimately I think the proof is in the pudding. But I'd like you to tune in, listen in, see what you think, and see if our project sounds like something that you think is worth taking a look at, doing your due diligence on, and ultimately, eventually, putting your money into, taking a leap of faith with us. Who am I and why am I qualified to have this conversation with you today? First of all, I'd like to point out a couple things that I've done over the years that put me in a unique position. First and foremost, I started my own currency back in 2008. In fact, I've been manufacturing coins for the better part of like 16, 17 years. In 2008, I started the American Open Currency Standard because I thought that there was something wrong in the world. I did some research trying to figure out exactly what it was. And down every rabbit hole that I tried to dig my way through, I always found the same problem. The same problem was always money. And when I tried to figure out who was behind the money supply here in the United States, boy, was I shocked and surprised to learn that the Federal Reserve is about as federal as Federal Express. And so I said, who's doing something about the money? If the money is always at the bottom of all these problems and injustices in the world, there's got to be an effort out there to fix the money. And I found one guy. I found this thing called the Liberty Dollar, started by Bernard Vernathis back 10 years prior. And I said, that guy's onto something. He was creating his own silver barter currency. And I thought that that was a great idea. And with my background in corporate barter, I decided to throw my hat in the ring. Well, he got busted by the feds about a week after I met the guy. And so I said, well, what to do now? Either quit and go home or start something different, start something better. And that's ultimately what I did. I launched the American Open Currency Standard back in 2008. And I've made millions and millions and millions of old-fashioned coins. I got a couple sitting here on my desk. Remember this stuff? Silver, old-fashioned money. I made a lot of coins over my career. And I think it's really coincidental that I started the Open Currency Standard back in 2008, which was the same year that somebody else, somewhere else in the globe, going by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, probably not their real name, started Bitcoin. And I think this is really oddly coincidental because I believe we both saw the same problem. The difference between Bobby Gray and Satoshi Nakamoto is that Satoshi went digital and I went physical. And it's taken me a long time to see the error of my ways, but now here I am, 17 years later, looking back and saying, man, he was right. Bitcoin won. I've done very well for myself over the years, but I'm not crypto rich. They got it right. And again, it took me a long time to realize that, and I'll cover why in a few moments. But that's where I started back in 2008 with the American Open Currency Standard. I made millions of coins for hundreds of different causes, Indian nations, political candidates, from one end of the spectrum to the other. I made a lot of coins, and I did very well with it. In fact, I did so well that in 2012, I was invited by my friend, Texas Congressman Ron Paul, to go into Washington, D.C., into the lion's den, into the den of vipers, and speak to the U.S. House Financial Services Domestic Monetary Policy Subcommittee as an expert witness about parallel currencies. They called it the Roadmap to Monetary Freedom. I was the last person actually to speak at Ron Paul's very last domestic monetary policy hearing. That was back August 2nd, 2012. And, I always valued that moment, but I never really appreciated how important it was until recent times, where I can now point to that experience that happened way back in 2012 and say, go watch the video. Same guy, same message, just a different medium of exchange today. But that was back in 2012. And 2012 was an interesting year because it's also the same year that I actually created what might just be the most famous coin in the world today. I created the original Bitcoin coin back in 2012. You've seen this in probably every crypto email, crypto scam, all the crypto stuff left and right has taken this image and has adopted it as its own. And it's probably the most famous coin in the world today. But it's certainly the de facto face of not just Bitcoin, but all things cryptocurrency. I mean, when you think of Bitcoin, you're not thinking of zeros and ones stuck together in a, long digital blockchain ledger. You're thinking about this coin. And so I had the incredible honor of bringing that to market back in 2012. Fast forward a couple of years, and this cryptocurrency craze is starting to take off. And in 2017, a friend of mine, a guy by the name of Joby, invited me to come out and make some coins for a project that he was working on back in that time. And he wanted to order a bunch of, this original Bitcoin coin. He wanted to do some in gold and some in silver and some in copper. And I said, wouldn't this be a great opportunity for me to dip my toe in the cryptocurrency waters and create a powerful tool that the industry can use to deal with some of the biggest problems that they're facing right now? Back in the day, you've got exchanges going bankrupt. You got people getting hacked left and right. You've got forgotten passwords, shattered hard drives. You got all this new digital risk. And I said, well, I've got this famous coin. I know a thing or two about, technology and IT. Why don't I take this world famous coin and I can laser etch a private key onto the back of it. And if I laser etch this private key onto the back of one of these coins, we can create something that I've called a cold storage coin. And all it is it's a little way to hold a digital asset in the palm of your hands. And so I brought these cold storage coins to market back in 2017, and it was my contribution to the industry. But I saw this product as a really powerful bridge between these very different opposing worlds. I thought of it as a way to start to think about and grasp the idea of digital currency. When you come from this world of gold and silver coins, you've got something that you can physically hold. You can lock it up in the safe. You know where your value is, and you know how to keep it safe. And it's very easy to protect this from digital threats because you don't have any. You got to worry about somebody breaking in and cracking into your safe, and that's certainly an issue. But we don't have to worry about hackers. We don't have to worry about exchange bankruptcies and all this new stuff that we're just now learning about as we enter this realm of cryptocurrency, digital money. And so my contribution to the industry back in 2017 was to not launch an ICO or create a meme coin or an NFT or digital collectible, but to create a functional tool that actually gave people the ability to store any amount of crypto in the palm of their hand. So the key is here on the physical coin, any amount. And I ended up making a lot of these for a lot of different blockchains. Every one is unique. We got an Ethereum one, we did a Tether one, we've made the official USDC, Binance coin, Cardano, Litecoin. I've made a lot of coins in my time. And that was back in 2017, really still before most people ever heard of cryptocurrency. But my friend invited me out to deliver these custom coins that I manufactured for the project that he was working on in South Korea at a big event that company was having. And I went out there and I saw for the very first time something that absolutely blew my mind, and I call it crypto rich. I saw more excited, screaming, clapping, cheering Koreans in a room than I'd ever imagined. Next thing I know, I blinked and it was hot air balloons and it was strawberries and caviar and champagne and this amazing thing, this powerful, excited community of cryptocurrency enthusiasts. And this was all brand new to me. And so I saw it there for the first time. And in the back of my mind, I said, I'm going to do something someday with crypto. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm going to do something someday and it's going to be spectacular. I don't know what. This is 2017, but I know I'm going to do something great. So I've been around this cryptocurrency conversation for a very long time. You know, back in 2012, I brought the original Bitcoin coin to market. If you go way back and you flip the original coin over, you'll see AOCS 2012 on the back of all those coins. That's American Open Currency Standard. Your little Bobby Gray here made that back a very long time ago. And so, you know, a lot of people out there have the I missed Bitcoin story. Nobody has the well, very few people have a story where they missed it as big and as bad as I did. You know, back when I brought this coin to market in 2012, Bitcoin was about $5 a coin, right? So if I picked up $100 worth of Bitcoin back at $5, I'd have 20 Bitcoin, and I probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you here today, but I missed it. And let's add insult to injury, because I didn't just miss Bitcoin. I missed Litecoin. I missed Dogecoin. I missed Ethereum. I missed Monero. I missed Binance. I missed like hundreds of these different coins. There's a guy driving a Lamborghini somewhere in the world right now on a coin that hit that you and I have never even heard of. I missed it. And I know that a lot of people out there have that very same story. You probably missed it too, which is why you're here today. You probably know somebody that got in early and did very well with it. And what did I miss? I missed out on a financial technology that is literally maybe, just maybe, the best form of money planet Earth civilization has ever seen. I mean, think about it, right? We've used gold and silver for thousands of years. It's worked very, very well for a very long time. You know that old story about an ounce of gold. 1 ounce of gold back in ancient Rome, you know, bought you a nice toga, it bought you a belt, and it bought you a pair of sandals. And that same ounce of gold today, 2,000 plus years later, buys you a nice suit, it buys you a pair of shoes, and it buys you a nice belt. And that's not entirely true, because an ounce of gold today is worth like what, $3,300, $3,400? And I would argue that an ounce of gold today probably buys you 2 nice suits, a couple pairs of shoes, and a couple belts. And that's the thing that you have to understand about good money. Good money is designed to hold its value over time. Good money doesn't go up or down in value. It just simply holds its value. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why can I buy more today with that ounce of gold than I could buy 2,000 years ago? Well, that's technology. You know, back then, everything was handmade. Today, we have much better tools to, you know, acquire these raw materials and to assemble these raw materials into marketable products, and the quality's better and they're more durable. And, you know, we've got all those things. We've got technology to thank for all those great things. And so I wouldn't say that the value of our money has gone up. The value of gold and silver have gone up, but I would say that we've gotten better at producing the things that you can use those gold and silver coins to buy, right? So that's the world that I've come from. And this physical world where if you don't hold it, you don't own it, you miss out on emerging technologies like cryptocurrency. And so in 2008, when I made the decision to start my own currency and go physical with it, you know, that was relying on physical minted coins as the medium of exchange, I did it because it was very real and it was very honest. You can hold the coin, you can point to it, you can look at it, you can test it, you can know exactly that this is a real legitimate coin. So when cryptocurrency came out, it was kind of natural and understandable that I was skeptical about it, as I'm sure you were skeptical when you first heard about it as well. Now, some people weren't skeptical. They got it right away. Maybe they were young, maybe they were tech oriented, maybe they understood digital economies. Maybe they got in early and they got rich and they're gone. Or maybe they got in early and they made a terrible mistake and threw their computer out in a landfill, and they're still hunting through that landfill today, digging out trash, trying to find that magic hard drive. But whatever it is, we missed it. And what we didn't understand back then has all of a sudden, over the last 10, 15 years, become a multi-trillion dollar industry. And I would even argue that the industry is brand new and it is just getting started. But I missed it. Let's take another look real quick at what we missed, because when I got into making my own currency, I read an article by this great guy named Jason Hummel, member of our community today. Maybe he's out there on tonight's call. Let's scroll down and find out. Yes, he is out there. Hi, Jason. Good evening. I read an article and it said that anything that was going to be used as good money had to have three traits, three properties. There were always going to be three values of good money. Number one, it was going to be a good medium of exchange. You were going to be able to pass it easily from one person to the other. And I can easily toss you a silver or gold coin. It's very easy. For anything to be good money, it had to be a good unit of account, which means that I need to be able to count this thing easily. If I weigh it, I can check the exact weight. If I stack 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 on top of each other, I can quickly tell that there are 20 there. And it had to be a good store of value. And of course, if we look at the historical value of gold and silver over the last couple thousand years, we look at it and say, yeah, it's held its value over time. Maybe it's even gone up a little bit in value. So anything that was good money had to have those three traits. So let's pause for a moment and evaluate cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. In that light, let's take a look. Is Bitcoin a good medium of exchange? Well, today I would argue that Bitcoin is a flawlessly perfect medium of exchange. I can send any amount of Bitcoin from here to the other side of the world and back in mere moments. Bitcoin's kind of slow, a little expensive. So let's say Litecoin. I can send any amount of Litecoin from here to the other side of the world and back in seconds. I can do it practically for free. And here's the best part of all. This is the best part. I can do it without even having to go through FedEx or UPS or the Postal Service. I don't even have to go through a bank to do that. I can do it at 2 a.m. if I want. And that value is there on the other side of the planet almost instantaneously. What a profound idea to think of this form of value, this form of money, as an unstoppable medium of exchange. It's flawless. Number one. Let's think about cryptocurrency. Let's think about Litecoin as a unit of account. I can look at my wallet and I can tell exactly how many Litecoin I have. I can go to a Litecoin block explorer and I can figure out exactly how many Litecoin have ever been made. I know exactly where they are. I know exactly what wallets those Litecoins are residing in. I can take one Litecoin and I can shatter it into a million different teeny tiny mini Litecoins almost instantaneously and almost for free. I mean, think about what things were like when I was manufacturing silver coins. If I wanted to take a big 1,000-ounce silver bar, I'd have to melt that down into the, to the tub of water and turn it into casting grain. I'd take my casting grain and cast it out into a long strip. I'd take my strip and I'd roll it out into a thin strip. And then I have to punch my blanks out. I'd have to rim those. I'd have to anneal and polish them. I'd have to clean them, wash them, dry them, and then finally I could stamp them. That's a lot of work to take a 1,000-ounce bar of silver and turn it into 1,000 1-ounce rounds. But I can take a Litecoin and I can turn it into 1,000 mini Litecoins instantly and almost for free. It is a perfect and flawless unit of account. But here's the thing that got me stuck for years. Remember, I learned about this in 2012, right? Or before. And it wasn't until 2023 that I finally took off my horse and buggy gold and silver blinders and thought about number three. Is it a good store of value? Gold and silver have held their value over thousands of years. They clearly are a good store of value. But I can never wrap my mind around that last trait of good money. Is cryptocurrency, is Bitcoin a good store of value? And as I pondered that question, because we think about this volatility, prices up and down. When I launched my exciting coins back in 2017, Bitcoin was at $20,000 and then it crashed all the way down to $3,000. You can't use something that's that volatile as money. It just doesn't work. But what I misunderstood back then was that store of value doesn't mean that it's not volatile. Anything that's good money that's going to be a good store of value means that you can use it to get things later. That's all it means. Store of value means that I can trade it out later to get something that I find valuable. I can't eat my silver coin. I can't take an ounce of gold and I can't put it into my gas tank for fuel. But I can take those coins and I can go down to a pawn shop or a coin shop and I can sell those and turn them into money, which I can then use to buy food or gasoline. All those gold and silver coins are designed to do is just hold on to my value until I'm ready to spend it. And so what I was missing was that store of value doesn't mean that it's not volatile. There are lots of things out there are volatile. Currencies come and go and crash all the time. What I failed to understand was that store of value meant that you could use it later to get what you want. And what I failed to realize as I'm sitting there with my blinders on the gold and silver horse and buggy is that this Bitcoin freight train went flying past me, because today you can spend Bitcoin at 54 million plus merchants all over the globe. 54 million merchants today. How, really? How? Why? Today, you can get a Bitcoin linked Visa debit card from a group like Coinbase and many, many others, and you can tap to pay with your Bitcoin store of value at 54 million places that take Visa MasterCard. And I never saw it coming. I was too focused on this physical aspect of money. And what happened to me in 2023, I finally saw the writing on the wall. I've been resisting this cryptocurrency thing for a long time. And I finally said, you know what? The world's not making any new gold and silver coin buyers. I'm basically selling fax machines over here. Kids today, they don't care about gold and silver coins. My daughter's not going to go out and buy a safe to stock up all the gold and silver coins she's never going to buy. The only gold and silver coins she'll get are the ones she inherits from me when I'm dead. Kids are into games. They're into NFTs, digital collectibles, in-game tokens and currencies, things that they trade in different places online. That's digital value. And when that finally hit me, I said, I'm out. I'm not making any more coins. I sold all my factory assets. I got completely out after years of coin manufacturing. I was done. And I knew that I was going to get into cryptocurrency. I didn't know which one. I didn't know how. I knew that I was selling these great coins and they work perfectly. But I didn't know exactly what I was going to do next. But I remember that thing in 2017, all that excitement, all that passion, and all that energy that was there in the cryptocurrency, because this crypto emerging technology, Bitcoin and all these other ones, this is like a bleeding cutting edge technology. And if we understand this technology early, just the same way that it happened with the US dollar when it first came out, if we get in on this thing early and we take the time to understand it, we've got an upside. We've got an opportunity. It took 20 years and an executive order for the US to go from gold and silver coins to the Federal Reserve note. Earlier you got in, the faster you got into that new program, whether you like it or not, the more opportunity and upside that you had. And it works the same way today with cryptocurrency. And I would argue that we are still in the very beginning of the digital currency future. Now, I'm not trying to convince anybody on this call in 30 minutes of what it took me the better part of a dozen years to come and understand. But I would like you to at least begin to open your mind to the possibility that cryptocurrency, number one, might just be the best form of money that we have today on planet Earth, maybe even possibly the most honest form of money. You can't make a fake Bitcoin. If I tried to send fake Bitcoin into your wallet, it would never get there. But if I put a silver coin down in front of you, you'd have a real hard time without metallurgical testing equipment convincing me that that was absolutely real. Cryptocurrency might just be the best form of money that we've ever seen. It's the most honest, it's the most transparent, and it gives the control of that money back to us, the people, in our hands, where it has always belonged. And it took me a long time to see that. And so when I got out of my coin manufacturing in 2023 and I said, I'm getting into crypto, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to do something great. And then a couple months later, I'm listening to an episode of the Rogan podcast, and somebody gets on there as a guest and they goes, hey man, what do you think about Texit? And he's like, what? Texas? Yeah, Texas becoming its own independent nation. I mean, look, all empires eventually fail. It's just a matter of time. The U.S. has been here for 250 years. The average age of an empire is 250 plus or minus 100 years. Rogan, poo-pooed all over the idea right away, but I heard it and a light went off. Now, in my old days, as soon as I hear something cool like that, I start designing a coin, right? And that's what I've done for a long time. I'm a coin designer. And this time I said, no, not this time. This time I'm going digital. And I looked around and I realized that I was coming up into my own party late. I had already built a factory with all this perfect insulation and all this big power. You need this big three-phase power to be able to melt silver bars and run these casting ovens and furnaces. So I've got all this big power and a great facility that's perfectly insulated. I've got this great background in IT, and so I'm not afraid of technology stuff and some coding and programming and design. And I said, what if this was the right thing to do right now? What if all of this time that I've been working towards this goal of honest money, what if I've been doing it all wrong? What if I've been intentionally neglecting to acknowledge the tools of our time? And I've been successful with my gold and silver coins, but I haven't been able to be global. I haven't been able to affect a large community because I've been using slow, old-fashioned, and outdated tools. And I said, what if this whole time I've been designing and developing exactly all the things that I would need to launch my own cryptocurrency, Texit Coin? And so I got started on designing it, registering it, domain names and copyrights and all that stuff. And January 26th of 2024, I mined the first block of Texit Coin. Now, here's the important part. Texit Coin is technologically very similar to Litecoin. In fact, we started out as a Litecoin clone. And I did that because I wasn't interested in bringing any fancy bells and whistles to the conversation. I was looking at the community and I said, well, I'm going to get into crypto. Which one should I get into? Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum? You got all these great ones out there. Which one should I throw my hat in the ring to support? And I set out to do some research. And that's when it hit me even worse than this Texit thing. What I realized is that Asia now primarily controls almost all the big cryptos. Proof of work cryptos, think about it. China makes the chips that you need to run the supercomputers that mine the crypto. They get almost free electricity. So, of course, it makes sense that they've got more than 51, 52, 53% of the mining power. Think about proof of stake coins like Ethereum is now. Whoever holds the most amount of it makes the decisions on the technology. Well, the biggest exchange in the world is Binance, 5, 6, 7, 10 times bigger than Coinbase. They've got the majority of the crypto holdings. I mean, 60% of all crypto trading now is Japan, Korea, and China. And I was blown away to find out that the majority of the crypto excitement today is in Asia. I said, there's got to be somebody that's doing something like a made in America crypto, right? Make crypto American again. Not a thing. And I said, that's what I'll do. Let's design a proof of work coin. That's the hard way. It's real easy to code up a meme coin and launch a, Hawk 2 Girl token. The hard way is building out the mining infrastructure, but the mining infrastructure is really what matters. Because in proof of work coins, we're taking electricity as our raw material. We're working that electricity through these things called ASICs, these supercomputers that are designed to do these complex math equations in a lottery format to get this prize, this digital reward. And when I thought about that, I thought this is very similar to how I used to manufacture coins back in the day. I take this big bar of silver. That's my raw material. I'd melt it down using all this production equipment and electricity. And at the end of the day, I get a pile of, 1 ounce silver coins. So when I thought about electricity as the raw material, ASICs as the production equipment, and at the end of the day, I get a pile of digital coins, it's the same thing. I've been doing this for years. I know how to do it. And I said, I'm going to build a mine here in Texas. Texas is beginning to become the center of the cryptocurrency conversation in the United States. Think about it, right? If crypto is all about electricity and power, we've got great electricity here in Texas. We've got our own grid. The only problem we really have here in Texas is the heat, and these supercomputers put off a ton of heat. And we wrestled with that in the beginning. We had a garage full of these Bitmain L3s, that were old, outdated. I was like, we're going to repurpose these things and we're going to get them to make our own coin. And so I have these supercomputers screaming in my garage and it's 120 degrees. And I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. I come across this technology called immersion cooling. And now we've got tubs full of something like mineral oil and these expensive supercomputers dropped into these, these exotic tubs that are pumping this fluid outside through a heat exchanger. And this is all stuff that makes sense to me because I've come from this industrial background. And so I started mining Texit Coin in January of 2024. That was back when it was just a twinkle in my eye. And, I knew that it was going to take some time to develop the resources and the assets that would be required for us to turn into something that the world would be interested in learning more about. And it was April of 2024, about 69 weeks ago, funnily enough, that I felt good enough about the project that I introduced it to my friends and family. I invited them to buy a handful of coins and to start mining Texit Coin with me. And I made a very simple program. I took lots of ideas from the people that did it before. I said, we got to build a mine. We got to build a mine that's so big that the cryptocurrency community looks at this and goes, wow, that's a big mine, but we need to build this with individuals. Because it'd be very easy to get one rich guy to dig deep in his pocket, pull out $100 million to build a big mine. But that means that one guy owns it. He gets to keep all the profits from that. We need a second chance. We missed Bitcoin. We missed Litecoin. We missed all these different things. Why not give ourselves another chance? Learn from all those mistakes that were made by the crypto community, the hackers, and the password problems. Let's use these powerful tools that we have today, and let's have a do-over. And so I built us a Bitcoin time machine. I got rid of my gold and silver horse and buggy. I built us a cryptocurrency rocket ship from all the things that I've learned over the years about honest money and voluntary barter currencies and equal exchange of value and cryptocurrency and the great things that it brings to the conversation. I put those all together and I built us the Texit Coin rocket ship. And in April of 2024, 69 weeks ago, I invited friends and family to join me. I said, put in $1,000. We're going to crowdsource this mine, guys. Every time somebody puts in $1,000, we're going to take that money and we're going to grow the mine a little bit. Because not only do we just have to build this mine, but we also have to build a community of enthusiasts that want Texit Coin to win. I mean, look, people have done this before. There's no, questioning that. But they were trying to mine Bitcoin. We're mining our own coin. So not only do we have to build the mine big enough to the point where the world respects it, but we have to build a community that's passionate about honest money and serious about seeing our coin become successful. And I told those people back in the early days that put their money in, I'm going to do 3 things with your money. I'm going to be a good steward of your money. I'm going to build the mine. If you follow the rules of our little affiliate program, I'm going to pay you commission, and I'm going to promote our coin. And that's my simple plan. And if I do those 3 things, I think we're going to have a project that's going to grow and be successful. People are going to laugh at us in the beginning. Oh, man, they're going to think it's funny. And they're going to make the same jokes and comments about us that I'm sure that they did about Bitcoin back when it was in its infancy. Let them laugh today. But if you see the opportunity that I see, you look at my background, the things that I bring to the table, making this project incredibly authentic and a continuation of my life's work, just swapping out that horse and buggy for a digital currency rocket ship, then join me. Then put your cash in. And a couple guys did. My daughter, in fact, was first money in. I think that was April 4th. And then my dad and a couple friends and my neighbor, Josh, and some other great people came along. Then my neighbor, Johnny, came down. What are you doing down here? Making all this noise in your garage. Well, I'm mining crypto. I don't know what that is. Well, look, man, it's kind of like a scam, except you know the guy that's running it. My wife has long since told me that I shouldn't use that that pitch anymore. It's kind of like a scam. Not my finest moment, but that's really what it was. It wasn't a scam. It was just something that was incredibly risky, totally unproven, a leap of faith, if you would. But I felt good enough about it April of last year to invite people to put in $1,000. I said, look, $1,000 isn't that bad. It's what you'd maybe spend in a bad night at the casino or on an expensive dinner out with the family. It's a reasonable risk. And if I'm right, and if this thing ends up being successful, you'll be really happy that you got in. And then it started to grow. This little referral program that we had that sure smells a lot like network marketing. People said in the early days, don't say that. Don't use those letters. Like, I'll get in, but I would never be caught dead in one of those MLMs. I said, well, look, it's not really like an MLM. We borrowed a lot of stuff from the network marketing community, or even used some of their terms and terminology. I said, but it's not really an MLM. I've talked to like top guys in the MLM space. They go, you don't have an MLM. Why not? It's a one-time fee. If you don't have like a monthly auto ship, it's not really an MLM. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. No requirement. You put your money in, you're going to get your Texit Coin mined out day in, day out. Happens about 7 p.m. Central. 25 minutes from now, another payout's going to happen every day in, day out, automatically, right to you, whether you help us grow or not. But number 3 is we've got a product that you can't find on the shelf at Walmart for 10 cents on the dollar. In fact, our whole conversation is about money. If you want to join us, you put your money in. $1,000 is the minimum. $9,000 or so is the maximum. No one's allowed to buy their way to the top. If you want to be a top miner with Texit Coin, you've got to earn it. You got to roll up your sleeves and you got to help us build. You got to see the dots that we've identified. As the mine gets bigger, the coin becomes more valuable. As our community gets bigger, as our pockets get deeper, our coin becomes more valuable. Very clearly, easily identifiable dots. If you want to have the biggest chunk of the mining hash power, you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to help us grow. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, great. You don't have to. Just keep your coin safe because your mining output's going to pay out every day to your cold storage wallet. Just keep it safe. It's all you got to do. You put your money in, you start mining. You decide to help us, you participate in our 1-2 free program. You bring on 3 friends, mom, dad, sister, coworker, whatever you want. For every 3 people that you bring onto our program, we give you an additional 100 mega hash of mining power. We call it 1 seat on the rocket ship. So you buy in for $1,000, you buy 1 seat on the rocket ship, you get 100 mega hash. 100 mega hash over the total mining power. So as the mine grows, your 100 mega hash represents a smaller and smaller and smaller piece of the pie, unless you decide to acquire more and help us grow. But for every 3 people that you bring onto our community and invite them on and they become miners, we'll give you an extra seat. Now, if you do that with the 3 people within the first 30 days, we'll give you 2 extra seats. And then we'll reset the clock. We call it a fast start bonus. So if you bring on 3 people, you get more mining power, more money. We decided at the very early stages of this project that there was not going to be any holds, any lockups, any restrictions. The Texit Coin that you mine every day is mined out direct to your wallet. It goes right to you. You can mine it to your phone and you can monetize or sell it every day. You can mine it to your cold storage wallet. I don't have a cold storage coin right here. Can you grab me a Texit Coin? Every single day, day in, day out, it mines direct to you. Save it, see how high the rocket goes, or sell it and monetize it every day. It's worth about $5 a day, right? So as your mining output Texit Coin per day decreases, the hope is the value of that Texit Coin on the open market increases. And so voila, it's worth about $5 a day. There's a Texit Coin, right? So keep it or sell it. And if you do that with 1 seat and you don't do anything else, you'll get the equivalent of your money back in about 200 days, right? If you hold on to it, you've got it in hand, you decide to sell those coins every day, you got your money back in about 200 days, and then you're mining for the next 136 years. We designed a multi-generational blockchain that doesn't expire in the next couple of years like Bitcoin does. This one goes on for a while. Now, you say, well, I really like what you're doing, man. It sounds good. And apparently, according to the charts on your website, you're doing very well. And this thing is growing. In fact, you went from 2.8 cents back in April of last year, or May 15th, when you opened on your first market, dex-trade.com. We're live today on 2 markets, 2 centralized exchanges, dex-trade.com and also Bitmart, which is a big exchange, but not available to Americans. And we're also live today on the DEX markets with wrapped Texit Coin, WTXC. Just launched that this past week. So you can get us, you can buy and sell in markets. There's a good amount of trading volume there. It's still new, it's still early, but you could sell all the Texit Coin that you mine every day. You would not affect the market price, and you'd be able to turn that back into cash real time. No restrictions, no lock. It's your Texit Coin to do with as you please. But if you look at the website, if you see those dots, what happens with most people is you join, you put your money in, you dip a toe in the water. You're trying to answer that question of whether or not it's a scam, which is the $1 million question. And it really is the $1 million question, because if you decide that it's not for you and you don't put your $1,000 in and you don't acquire those 1,000 Texit Coin over the next, 9, 12 months, whatever it is, and we take Texit Coin onto the list of top cryptos, which I believe is extremely possible, 1,000 times $1,000 is $1 million. And you miss out on $1 million. And that would be a real shame, because that would be another example of man, I could have gotten in on Texit Coin back when it was $1.75. But if you see those dots, If you understand what we're doing, if you like the project, if you like the idea of being involved with the most exciting thing today in the cryptocurrency space, think about it, right? You can buy in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's probably going to go up in value. Every government across the globe is talking about Bitcoin reserves today. Every state house across the planet is trying to figure out how to get in on the digital currency revolution. It's coming our way. So there's no doubt it's going to go up, but you're just waiting for the banks and the governments to drive the price of the coin up and down on the Bitcoin roller coaster yo-yo experience. You can't affect the price. But if you jump into Texit Coin and you help us grow the mine, you push us a little bit closer with each seat to our goal. Because we take that money, we pay our commissions, we build the mine, and we promote our coin. And man, it is really fun right now to talk about the coin promotion. We're live now in Dallas Fort Worth Airport. We're live on 200 billboards across the state of Texas, saturated in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio. We've got billboards in Phoenix. We've got billboards in Tennessee. We've got billboards in Southern California. We've got radio ads running for the next 6 months. KLBJ Radio out of San Antonio, the #1 AM news radio station down there, is now named the Texit Coin Studio. And the brand recognition, advertising, and promotion that we're doing is working. People all over the state now are familiar with Texit Coin, and it's just getting bigger and more exciting every day. We go live in Houston Airport in just a couple of days. And that's because we take the money that comes in, we build the mine, we pay our commissions on time, and we reinvest in marketing and promotion. And it's that simple formula that started as a little twinkle in my eye that grew into something that I was comfortable introducing to my friends and family, that has grown today into something now that has built 4% of our, brought in 4% of our cash that we need for the mine, 22.5% of the cash that we need for the marketing and promotion. And we just the other day broke past our 10,000th miner in our community. And if you look at the charts on the website and you see the momentum, you see the enthusiasm, you see this stuff coming in, and you realize that this thing is working because we're following through on the simple things that we told you we were going to do, you might just decide to put in a little bit of cash and join us. Take that leap of faith. If you've got the money and you're willing to put it at risk and you want to be a part of something that's made exclusively here in Texas that we're going to export all over the world for our friends and partners in Asia. I lived in Asia for 7 years. I spent 4 years in Thailand and 3 years in Singapore. I'm very familiar with Asian culture. More than 100 people so far are joining us on our trip to Thailand. Congratulations to all the many people that have qualified to join us and spend 2 weeks having the time of your life. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, folks, but it sure feels like it. If you want to be a part of the most exciting thing in the cryptocurrency space today, you take me seriously, you believe that I'm going to work hard day in and day out for our mutual benefit, then put your cash in. Join us. It's a one-time fee. You have to decide one time if you want to take that leap of faith. Put your cash in, tune into the Zoom calls. We do a live Zoom call every Tuesday night and every Thursday night. I do the Tuesday night call myself. I'm very busy with a lot of different stuff, but you can always count on me being here for you Tuesday night to answer your questions, to share the news with you, tell you what's going on for better or worse. You know, not everything goes exactly the right way every week. Some weeks we have some setbacks. We talk about those things. We decided that transparency was paramount in this project. You've heard about all the crypto scams. You know about all the slimy stuff in the network marketing industry. We're just going to meet those objections and concerns head on and give you all the information. The more good information you have, the better decisions you can make. And if we're upfront with you, again, it's not always roses, but we're going to be upfront. You might not always like what we have to say, but we'll always tell you the truth so that you get to decide if you're on the right rocket ship. But join us. Come with us. We've manufactured ourselves a second chance. The crypto kids, the guys that got rich, they let this beautiful financial technology slip right through their fingers, and they handed it over to the same banks and institutions that Bitcoin set out to disrupt. People ask all the time, what's your utility? What do you mean utility? We're here to do the job that Bitcoin forgot. You remember the Bitcoin white paper? Digital, peer-to-peer, decentralized currency. Nobody uses Bitcoin today for currency. They use Litecoin or, USDC or USDT. Bitcoin today is digital gold. Most of it's held by the big banks. Most of it's mined by foreign nations. We've got one chance to do it over. We've got one chance to do it right, to learn from all those mistakes, to take what we've learned and we've built it into Texit Coin, the future of money in Texas. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder of this thing. I'm the guy that's lucky enough to call himself the fearless leader. I've got a great team of people that's come together over the last year and a half now to build this thing. It's really, really incredible. I mean, I'm blown away at the reception that we've had. Back in the early days, it was kind of risky. It was a little questionable as to whether or not this thing of ours was going to work. No doubt in my mind today, friends. There is nothing external that we need for this project to be successful. We don't need a law passed. We don't need luck. We don't need an influencer to pump us just the right way at the right time. All we need to do is continue doing exactly what we've done for the last 69 weeks, and we win. And that's what's making this project so great, because people are out there building teams and they're working hard and they're growing and they're helping across those teams. They're opening up their offices, their training conference centers, their rooms, their restaurants, their living rooms for anyone and everyone to come in, get off the sidelines and learn about crypto, and invite them into joining us with Texit Coin mining, because they know that the bigger our community gets, the bigger the mine gets, the higher the likelihood is that we're all going to win. And there's nothing else like it in the industry today. You won't find a single thing that's built this way. I'm extremely proud of it. Some of you are going to be a little skeptical at first because of the basics, We got a lot of people from the network marketing community that come in and they say, well, hold on. We just want to make a couple changes. And I go, guys, I understand what you're saying, but I've designed a comp plan where everyone can be successful. Imagine my surprise to find out that if you join a network marketing company, you have less than 1% chance of getting back your original buy-in. This is according to the Direct Sales Association. 1% of the people that join a network marketing company ever get back their original thing. Our latest number, last time I checked, was 17%. It means that if you want to build this thing, if you want to be successful, the likelihood of that happening is incredibly high. Our comp plan is designed for you to win. We've cut out all the barriers, all the BS, all the nonsense. We've got a comp plan that you can explain in 5 seconds. 3 left, 3 right, $1,000. 6 left, 6 right, $2,000. 9 and 9, $3,000. And that's where we max out. That's our gotcha. We stop counting at 9 points. So if you got 287 points on your one side and 362 on your other side, we stop counting at 9 and 9. We pay out the maximum of $3,000 for that tracking center. The points reset and we start the next week. Our week begins and ends at 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. We pay out commission by 5 p.m. the following Wednesday, every week. Last week, $989,000 of commission was accumulated and earned by our community. What an amazing number. $11,000 off of a cool $1 million. I want to pay this money out, guys. Because if you're getting paid and if you're winning with helping us grow, then we're going to get to our goal much more quickly. If I create all these barriers and nonsense to make sure that you get cheated, you're only going to stick around for a very, very little amount of time before you go, what a waste. This is the easiest thing that you'll ever come across. It works for everyone. The bad news is that the guys at the top aren't going to make $500,000 a month. The good news is that the guys that get into the bottom can make just as much as the guys at the top. That's how we're not a pyramid. Anybody that gets in today has the ability to make the same $3,000 per week. Now, if you join us at the $8,955 package, we call it the builder plan, you get 3 tracking centers. Now, it's not easy to build out 3 tracking centers. You kind of have to know what you're doing, but each one of those 3 tracking centers maxes out at $3,000 per week. We have a friend on the call right now that joined last week and maxed out 3 tracking centers in the first week for a $9,000 commission. It's real money, and it happens every single week, week in, week out. Say what you want about it. I would have never been caught dead in a network marketing deal in my life, and now I run probably the best one in the whole industry because it works for anyone. If you want to roll up your sleeves and you want to help build this thing, you want to help fill the seats on the rocket ship, you want to earn more mining hash power, increase your daily Texit Coin payout, and get some cash commission at the same time, join us. You'll be a little frustrated that first time when you max out on those points and you go, wow, why do we even bother? I got too many points this week. That's what we call going supernova. Going supernova is when it doesn't matter if you get out of bed or not, you're going to accumulate enough points to max out at $3,000 this week. You'll be looking at it and saying, man, I really wish I bought those 2 extra tracking centers. So if you know what you're doing and you want to help us build this thing, come on, join us. Let's go. Let's have a great time together. This project exists for 3 reasons. We're here to have a great time. It's like my old friend Ernie says, if you can't have fun while you're fighting for freedom, then you're doing it all wrong. We're here to make friends, guys. We need each other. We've got to build a community of people that want to live a better life. I don't know what crypto rich means for you. For some people, it's the private jets and the yachts and the house and the mountains. For some people, it just means taking the day off and going fishing with the grandkids. For me, it means being able to take my wife out to dinner and not have to check my bank account balance first to see if I'm able to get dessert. Whatever it means for you, that's number 3. I want you to have more of it. Our project is all about making money. And if the money conversation makes you uncomfortable, you're on the wrong rocket ship. My friend Rafael Cruz says, I can tell you 3 things about money. Number 1, it's better to have it than not have it. 2, it's better to have more of it than less. And 3 is it's better to have it sooner rather than later. And if you stick around this project long enough and you listen to me, you will come to understand that I believe that money is the root of all good. If you work hard for your money, if you earn it through effort, through using your brain, using your skills, then money is good. I encourage you to use it for good. How can something that you work hard for and value be evil? But I want you to come and enjoy success and wealth just the same way that I do. I want you to enjoy life as much as I do. I want you to live a life as full and rich as I've been able to live the hard way while I was making gold and silver coins. For me, Texit Coin is fun and it's easy. And it's growing faster than I really ever imagined. It's definitely the most fun and successful thing I've ever done. And it is an absolute honor to be surrounded with so many great people, so many great leaders from these communities of cryptocurrency and network referral marketing. I've got real high hopes for the future. Where are we going? Well, I know how we're getting to $16 by February of 2026. Now, sounds far-fetched, but there's an article that you can read on our help desk called The Path to 16. It's a very simple explanation of exactly how we're stair-stepping our way to $16 by February of 2026. It's there in writing in black and white. Our plan is very simple, as is every other element of this plan. But 16 is not the end. And this is one of the most important things. 16 is the end of the beginning. The rockets sold out. We close the door. The last seat is filled. We give our final boarding announcements and we blast off. And I'm not stopping on this project until we reach the very highest levels possible. My goal, my real number, $1,000 a coin. You know, if Shiba Inu and Dogecoin can be top 10 multi-billion-dollar coins, what are they worth? 10, 20, 30 billion dollars? If a centralized, unminable coin that's run by and for central banks like XRP can be worth $100 billion, why can't Texit Coin be worth that? We've got the best of both worlds. We've got a mineable coin like Litecoin Doge. We've got something that can't be hijacked and taken over by foreign nations like XRP. We've got the best of both worlds with Texit Coin. And so I'm not stopping till I get all the way to the top. I've got the history. I've got the experience. Now we've got the cash to do it. But I got the most important thing of all, and that's I got you. I got a great team. I got a great community of miners that are passionate about honest money and actually seeing my life's work become successful. I wasn't wrong when I was doing it with gold and silver. I just failed to acknowledge that if we want to be successful in 2025, we've got to use the tools of our time. We're not going back to this stuff. Unless the lights go out, it's highly unlikely that we're going to be in the street bartering with gold and silver coins. If we want to be successful at changing the world and fixing the money system, which I've been passionate about going all the way back to 2008, we have to use tools that are fast, convenient, accessible, and can spread around the world almost instantaneously. Cryptocurrency. It's real. It's wonderful. I'd encourage you to do some more research and take a look at what we might have missed over the years. A financial technology that puts the issuance and control of money back in the hands of the people and away from the banks. And doesn't that feel great to participate in a project that holds that ideal as its highest virtue? That's what Texit Coin is in a nutshell. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder, and I'm the guy that's very proud to be here presenting the official introduction to Texit Coin for you here today. And that's it. That's all I got. We've been at it for 55 minutes. Sorry about the background. I'll crop it out and post this video to the web. Okay. We don't have much time tonight for Q&A, but I think we got a couple questions sitting down here. If you've got some questions, feel free to jump in and I will answer. Why is it so difficult to get into a damn Zoom? I don't know. Hopefully you made it in. I think that you did because you're here asking questions. Anyone read Bobby's testimony before House Congress? It can be found here at the House of Representatives website. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you sharing that link. You know, when I went into Congress back in 2012, I went in the day before I spoke with Ron Paul. I said, hey, man, do you want to like read my speech? Because I said some pretty heinous stuff in there. He goes, anything you want. You got to remember, whatever you say here today will be recorded in the permanent record forever. Say it. Say it all. And of course, there's the link to it. Thank you very much for that. Yes, August 2nd, 2012. Perfect link. Thank you. Grace says, thanks, Bobby. It's exactly what I was hoping for. Extraordinary. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We want one in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, look, once we're done here and we build out the 100 million mega hash, we're not done. We've got a successful model that's been proven, and we got a lot of people around the world that are saying, can you do that here too? The answer, of course, is yes. It's going to take us some time. Let us get all the bugs worked out on round one here, and then we would be happy to come and have a positive impact on your country as well. I want it to work in Trinidad and Tobago. I already have a team starting 4 people. I don't know how to do advertising down there, but if you figure it out there, Fatima, let us know. Ken says, great meeting and glad you recorded it for future use. Did I record it? I think I did. All right, Anonymous Tenny. Thanks, Bobby, for building such an amazing project and making it possible for everyone to win. You're welcome. I built it the way that I would do it if somebody said, come on, man, I know you're never going to get into those other ones. This one's different. That's how I built it. I built something that I would be willing to get into if it was introduced to me. Texit has done so much for me and my family in the last 16 weeks than any other marketing business I've ever done. Your true transparency is hands down huge. Thank you. And thank you, Texit. You're welcome. Well done, Bobby. You're welcome. Thanks. Gary, what's up, man? Any updates on Texit Coin home computers update and their effect on hash power? Well, Gary, home miners are going out. You should have gotten yours. I saw one with your name on it the other day. Didn't you already get one? Henry says, when I hear some are maxed out, does that mean they get 3,000 each week, every week automatically? No, that means for that pay cycle, they maxed out, right? And remember, the pay cycle resets every Saturday at 7 p.m. So all week long, we're counting up the points you get on your right and points you get on your left. Now, some of those points you'll make, and some of those points come from your team. We count to infinity. Okay, so it's not like we just count your points or level 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 or 8. But the gotcha is that we stop counting at 9. So if you have 8 points on your left and 22 points on your right, you qualify for the 6 and 6 or the $2,000. So we deduct 6 points from your left and 6 points from your right, but we stop counting at 9, right? So if you got 8 points on your left, 27 points on your right, we look at that as 8 points on your left and 9 points on your right. You qualify for $2,000. So we deduct 6 points from each side. And then next week you start 8 minus 6 is 2, 9 minus 6 is 3. So you're 1 point then away on your left side from getting your next $1,000. So the unpaid points up to 9 roll over to the following week. So you might be sitting there with like 9 points stuck on your right side forever and ever and ever. Then you bring on your first 3 referrals, you get the 1-2 free bonus, and you get the $1,000 cash. Because remember that those points were sitting there waiting for you to match them on the other side. Okay, so it resets every week. And we stop counting at 9. So if you get 263 on the one side and 427, we count that as 9 and 9. We pay out $3,000 and we reset that down to 0 and 0, and you start the next week. Now, the only other gotcha is we have this thing called cash potential, right? Which means that you can't take out more cash than you brought in, right? So you bring on your 3,36699, and then you go, I'm done forever. Your team keeps growing and building and growing and building. You won't be able to take out more cash than you brought in. So you got to balance your cash potential so that you can't hit the snooze button forever and say, I'm just going to sit back and do nothing and get my free 3,000. No, this doesn't work that way. What this does is it rewards the people that are helping us build, but there really aren't any loopholes for you to get free money forever. There were when we closed them. So hopefully that answers your question, Henry. But yeah, maxed out is during a weekly pay cycle. Mr. Ritchie there says, do you think other states will follow your model? No, I don't think so. We have some big advantages here in Texas in terms of energy, but other states don't have to follow our model. This could only really be done once. Now that this made in America blockchain idea gets out, will others try to do it? Sure. But they don't have the background and experience and the head start that we do. So I don't think they'll go very far, and they're not necessary. You see, the industry keeps adding megawatt and megawatt and megawatt, hundreds, thousands of megawatts of power to the Bitcoin mining network. Bitcoin doesn't need that. Bitcoin is already estimated to be 100,000 times larger and more powerful than it needs to be to do Bitcoin's job. And so we don't need other states to do this. Once it's built in Texas, it's reliable in Texas, it works in Texas, we can launch our community currencies all over the country. They can all benefit from the Made in America, Built in Texas blockchain. They don't have to reinvent the wheel because we fixed it forever. Jeffrey says, how can we calculate the number of tokens generated by one node in 100 megahash? That's really easy. On the website, Jeffrey, we've got a chart on the top left of the dashboard. The chart on the top left of the dashboard shows you our total sold megahash, right? Today, it's about 4.4 million. So you take 100 divided by 4.4 million, and it gives you a percentage, a very, 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 very small percentage. Then you multiply that by the number of coins that are produced on a daily basis. The average is about 95,000, and it results in about 2-3 coins a day. So one seed, 100 megahash, is getting about 2-3 coins a day. Those coins today are trading on the open market for about $1.75. $1.75 times 3 is $5.25. Like I said, we try to focus on the ROI as opposed to the number of coins per day. You can't get into Bitcoin mining today and hope to mine 200 Bitcoin a day. I put $1,000 into Bitcoin mining. Where's my 200 Bitcoin? It's not the way it works. So as the mine gets bigger, the upside decreases. So there's incentive to get in earlier because you'll acquire more coins than when the mine gets bigger and that 100 megahash percentage decreases. Jeffrey, hopefully that answers your question. Mr. Rosati says, if we are buying hash power, what is the replacement strategy as the chips stop working? Well, it's a couple different things. First of all, we don't know what the mean time between failure is for the chips yet. We've been using some L3s back in the early days that were 5-7 years old. So we don't expect them to drop like flies, and we expect them to last longer, maybe 30-40%, because we're using immersion cooling, which really cuts down on the heat out of the machines. So as we're building the mine, our cash flow comes from selling mining seeds, right? Our ability to pay the electric bill comes from merge mining Litecoin, and eventually we'll merge mine Doge as well. But once all that's done, the seeds are sold and we switch into like long-term mode, we'll probably set up like a 2 or 3% fee, management fee, that allows us to have the people that are doing the maintenance, swap out bad boards, replace the better technology. But we're also looking then at other countries and maybe even kind of cycling some of our older hardware out there or other things like that. So we don't really know exactly the answer to your question because we don't know when these things are going to start failing. And we don't know how long they'll be competitive in the global conversation with merge mining Litecoin and Doge. If we're using L3s today, we're not going to be able to mine Litecoin and Doge blocks because our hardware is not keeping up with the industry. So we can't really answer that question today, but today all those things are covered based on our sale of mining seats. In the future, we'll probably take a 2 or 3% fee out of the pool, like everybody else does right now, to cover those costs. But one-time fee. We're not planning ever on going back to anybody and asking them to dig into their pockets to pay for electric bills or to upgrade the hardware. Joe says, do we need permission to share this video? No, Joe. Thursday night is all about introducing Texit Coin to anyone and everyone. Feel free to share it everywhere. Dan says, is your miner hash rate growing slower or faster than the coin price? Well, it's an interesting question because we don't really look at it like that. Our coin price grows based on our available liquidity. So go over to the help desk, go to mindtxc.com, click on help, and do a search there for 1616. You'll find the article called The Path the path to 16. And it's an extremely important article because it tells you exactly what our strategy is, right? And it goes like this. Look, we're creating our own coin. So we get to choose the value. Now, the market can decide whether or not we think the value is, or they think the value is high or low, but we get to pick the starting point. So when this thing launched and we had 5 million coins, and I said, well, how about 2.8 cents? It gave us a market cap of less than $150,000. And the market said, yeah, okay, you're new, 150,000, that's fine. Well, then the community got bigger and our cash reserves and liquidity got bigger. We got onto exchanges. Next thing you know, we're at 10 cents, then 12, then 15, then 20. So we developed this strategy that says, if our liquidity is here, we're going to suggest to the market that our coin price is here. Then we step back and we watch and we wait. And if the market likes our price, it holds steady. If they think that we're low, the price goes up. If they think that our price is high and inflated, we'll have more sellers and the price goes down. And if we can't support that price with our liquidity reserve, then we know that we had the model wrong. So far, the model is working great. You can check out the exact documentation on the help desk, The Path to 16. It's a beautiful document, guys. It really, really explains what's at the heart of this thing. Gresham's law, Metcalfe's law, put together, lots of stuff that we've learned over the years from Austrian economics built into this project. Anonymous attendee, can you please explain again the miners we're using? We are using L9s from Bitmain. Top of the line stuff, guys. The best of the best in immersion cooling. Jay says, I have issues with receiving commissions from the new system. I tried the email route with mine TXC and it's not working. In the future, is there a better way to receive the cold storage wallet? I think mine was confused. I'm not really sure what you mean there, Jay. We pay out commissions in bulk every Wednesday. If you have your hash set to upgrade, that happens instantaneously Saturday night. If you've got Texit Coin or USDC as your commission, then it happens by 5 o'clock on Wednesday. So I'm not really sure exactly what your issue might have been with receiving commissions, but we do encourage you to get your USDC payout wallet address set up before Wednesday, preferably before commission runs, because we're going to start paying commissions out sooner. There's no reason for us to hold on to the commissions till Wednesday. We have them like right away. So we want to pay them out by Tuesday at 5 o'clock this coming week, which means you need to get your addresses in there set up and make sure they're right. We've got a couple people that put in addresses that they forgot or lost the keys to. We recommend to have the commissions paid out to a cold storage wallet that you then link in with your like MetaMask or Trust Wallet or Edge Wallet so that you're always in control of the keys. Then if you choose to send it off to Coinbase or Kraken or some other exchange, you've got control of that. There's lots of information on the help desk on exactly how to do that. Would we be able to visit the new office anytime soon? Dr. Breakthrough, we've got a lot of new offices and none of them are really open to like the public just yet. What I'm hoping to do sometime in the near future is set up a big tour of our land in Victoria where immersion cooling container number 1 is getting set up. Once we have a real office, then we'll do more stuff there. Rennie says, thank you for never giving up. Giving up for what, man? I'm having a great time. I'm making a lot of money. I'm having fun. I'm doing something I enjoy. Why would I give up? And guys, you got to remember that I'm not shy in any way about the money conversation. I've always been a big fan of money. I've always known how to make money. This system is the best thing that I have ever done by far. It's great for me and it's great for you. We both get to win in this. That's the difference between what I'm doing now and what I did before when I was building gold and silver coin factories. As the owner of those, I got to keep the profits, right? With this system, everybody gets to win along with me. If I'm right, we all win together. That's one of my favorite things. Gary's back to say, yes, I have the home computer and it's up and running. Good job. Basically plug it in, connect internet, and it's up. Thanks, Gary. Trey says, good work tonight, Bobby, and thank you for your time. How can I max out my hash power? Well, there's no maxing out your hash power. You want to hear about something that we don't talk about a lot? The Million Mega Hash Club. We're in a hash power accumulation game, guys. This is really, really kind of fun because every time you get an award, you get more hash power, which means the mine grows. Every time you get an award, we grow the mine. And that's great. That means all of us win. So if you get an award, the mine grows. Now, that award means that you get a little bit of a bigger part of the mining hash power. Okay? This is the fun part. This is really fun. You ready? You're going to hate it at first and love it later. We are competing against each other in this system. We're competing against each other. We're not competing against the banks. We're not competing against China. That's what permissioned means. Permission means that we've set up our own ecosystem, and whoever's going to do the most work to help us build and grow is going to get the biggest reward from the mine every day. You can see that right now. I know exactly who the top miners are. They're not wealthy people. They're guys that do Zoom calls. They're guys that do meetings. They're guys that go out to a restaurant 2, 3, 4 nights a week, inviting friends and family out. They're guys that are building this. And that's what I want. I want normal, everyday people to win on this project. But we've got the Million Mega Hash Club. Okay. And what that means is that the first person in our deal, well, let me rephrase that. It means that if you acquire 1 million mega hash, you start at 100, you can buy up to 900 plus 2. There's a backdoor 27 that's in the works as well. Don't ask. If you acquire a million mega hash of mining power, which means you own 1% of the mine, you will be in the Million Mega Hash Club, and there is a $1 million cash bonus if you join the club. Now, the first person to hit the 1 million mega hash club will get a $2 million one-time cash bonus. A couple big bonuses out there for you guys to work towards. It's a lot, but whoever cracks the nut at mass market growth will be able to get there and get there probably first. Trey says, good work tonight. Oh, yeah. Not going to max out my hash power. 1, 2 freeze and BOGOs. That's how you do it. Bobby, I coined a name for your vision of exporting your Texit Coin model to other countries. Blockchain in a box. It's pretty good. Thanks, Valerie. I like it. Lisa, hi, Bobby. I have a couple folks that would like to come in with builder pack, but not share. Doesn't matter what leg I put them on. Nope. Doesn't matter. Just look at where you're already maxed out. If you're probably maxed out on both sides already, so it doesn't really matter. And they will just accumulate hash, right? Well, they're not going to accumulate anything if they're not actually out there growing and building, right? You can put them somewhere, but if they don't match those points on the other side, they're not going to get anything out of it. It's a really simple premise. There's nothing here for free. There's no free money here. As far as what's in it for them, look, I'll tell you two things. Number one is they're going to get the Texit Coin whether they help us build and grow or not. That's the best part about this. If you join the rocket ship, you put on your blindfold and you hit the snooze button, you're still going to get your Texit Coin day in, day out. And we need people like that. We need passive, riders on the rocket ship because their cash helps us grow. But don't sell them short. A lot of people have joined and said, I'll never do your scammy, shady thing where I got to tell my brother-in-law about this opportunity. Well, I'll never do it over my dead body. Okay. All right. 2 months later, hey, my brother was asking if he can get in too. And do I get a reward or something? Is there a benefit if I do that? Don't write it off. Okay. Because it's not for everybody, but almost everyone that jumps on this thing goes, it's not a scam. What a surprise. What a pleasant surprise. Let me help this thing grow. Once you see those dots, you almost feel a sense of responsibility to help us connect them. Hey, wait, if this mine grows, we bring in more cash, our community gets bigger, the world notices us, we put up more advertisements, I should help. Yeah, let's go. So don't write them off, but put them wherever you want. Check with your sponsor if you need some advice. Bobby, do I get 100 hash for each person you bring in the opportunity? No. You get 100 mega hash or 1 seat on the rocket, as we call it, for each 3 that you bring in. And again, that's kind of our gotcha. What do I get for 1? Nothing. What do I get for 2? Nothing. What do I get for 3? Oh, you get a 100 mega hash bonus. So some people bring on 1, and that's fine for both of them. But it's not until you bring on that third person that you get the 1, 2 free bonus. And again, if you bring on that third new miner inside the first 30 days, we call it the fast start bonus because we want you to bring on 3 new miners every 30 days. You double that bonus. Instead of getting 1 free seat, you get 2 free seats, 200 additional mega hash. So it's very easy to go from 100 mega hash up to 300 mega hash by bringing 3 people along for the journey. Now, if you do that and you've got a good team leader that's building out your other side, you might also find that you qualified for $1,000 of cash. We call people that are like, hey, we're sending you $1,000 commission. For what? I only brought on 3 people. Yeah, but somebody else build out your other side and voila, you hit 3 and 3, $1,000 cash. I don't know how well I introduced the comp plan thing. It's not really my thing. I can do it. But I tell people, don't worry about it. Now, I know a lot of you are doing this as a business and you're very worried about it. And that's all well and good. You can research, you can watch videos that people have made online. You can read the articles. The comp plan's pretty simple. It's like a 1-pager. But the point is, help us grow. We'll set it up for you the way that we recommend is best. You can ignore our recommendations if you like, but it's pretty simple. Just help us grow and the money starts flowing very, very quickly. Hi, Pooja. When the team is planning to stop the mining, 136 years, a very long time from now. Jeffrey says, perfect. Bryce says, visual learner here. Where can I find a chart or a graph showing the affiliate payout flow? Great question. If you join our mining program, we've got a Telegram group that's got lots of stuff in there like that. We are in the process right now of going through and compiling all those resources and getting them onto the help desk in a nice index for you to show you exactly what those things are. My suggestion for you right now is go to mindtxc.com, click on rapid rewards, and you'll find the description there. It's a bit of a flowchart looking thing. Henry says, when the machines solve mathematical problems to create coins, what are the constant problems that's unsolved? Ones and zeros? I don't know. Henry, I wish I could explain crypto mining better. But all I can tell you is that these things are doing ever increasingly difficult mathematic calculations in an effort to crunch a block of transactions or list string of transactions into a block. And whoever gets the hash value of that block first wins the lottery, gets the 254 Texit Coin. Now, in our network, all of those Texit Coin that are accumulated by the miners go to the pool server and then proportionally and perfectly distributed 100% to the miners. So I can't tell you what the ones and zeros are about it, man. I wish I could, but it's over my head. Anonymous Enemy, do you provide training, for example, on how to mine? You don't have to train. You put your money in, the miners do all the work for you. There's lots of training out there on how to build and grow. Ron says, can you explain request TXC function in the back office? Yeah. If you want to buy some TXC from the reserves that we have. So basically, we accept Texit Coin. We make the currency. We have to accept the currency. We are the de facto last buck stops tier place on accepting Texit Coin. So suppose you've earned a handful of Texit Coin, you want to monetize it. Then you've got somebody that wants to buy in. You take their cash, they Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, PayPal it to you. Then you use your Texit Coin to pay for their mining seat through the back office, right? That Texit Coin comes into us and we go, okay, well, let's turn this over and make it available to the market again. So there's a request TXC or buy TXC function in the back office that allows you to buy that surplus Texit Coin that comes in at market price. That's what that is. Thailand vacation? Yes, Chris, are you coming with us? September 16th to the 30th. Trey says, I'm the man. And he's exactly right. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you recognizing that. Jordan says, we had 6 mines that got added to someone else's account. Will we get reimbursed for the coins we missed out on for that week? Short answer, Jordan, is probably yes. I would say absolutely yes, except I don't know exactly when. We don't make a lot of mistakes, but we do make some. And if we make a mistake, we'll make it right. Sometimes UPS makes a mistake and disappears your coin. We'll probably make that right too. Sometimes you make a mistake and then your coins are gone. That's on you, right? So if we made a mistake and we put something in the wrong place, then the office will calculate what you missed out on and will reimburse you for that. But it could take a while because it's a little messy to do all that math. Kelly says, can you do a webinar for those of us who do not understand this at all? I'm totally new to all of this. Kelly, I think I just did the webinar for all of you that do not understand any of this at all. If you've got specific questions, check the help desk. We've been doing Zooms now for 69 weeks. We've covered everything in depth. I eat and breathe and sleep Texit Coin. I can talk about this in my dreams, and I do on a regular basis. So if there's something you need to know more about, there's probably a resource already out there that covers it. Just let us know what you have in mind, and we'll point you in the right direction. Received my DG Home Miner. Thanks. You're welcome, Shushma. Thanks for helping us protect and secure our network. Nine Pure, is there a leaderboard for the 1 million mega hash club? There might be. There's definitely a list that shows you. I don't know. Let's see. Let me tell you who's in the lead. Today's award, 375 new blocks. Chad is number 1. Gage is number 2. So the leader is at 26,500 mega hash. Chad, Gage, Atlas, Texit Freedom, Russell, Elba, Team Colorado, Andrea, Jay, and then me. I'm there on the top 10. Go me. So yeah, there is a leaderboard. I'll see if I can find a way to get it published so that you can see the leaderboard as well. But like I said, it looks like the number is 26,500 for the lead, 2.5%. Can I explain the hash power? Sorry, I'm confused. No. Well, yeah, I can. So think of 1 + 1 = 2. That's 1 hash. I can do like 1 hash per second. 1 + 1 is 2. That's a hash. The computers that we have do 16,500 million of those per second. That's how hard they're working to do the math equations. My friend Tim explains hash power like horsepower. Okay. So, first, to understand it, you got to understand what a decentralized network is. There's no central authority. In a centralized network, you've got a mainframe computer. It's backed up. It's got the red laser beams going around it so that that girl can't like break into the bank and steal your money. That's centralized computing, right? Everyone understands that. It's got a database, it's got a list of all the balances, and it's got a list of all the transactions. That's centralized. Well, in decentralized, we're scattering that computer power around a big network, preferably around the state of Texas. Excuse me. The bigger that network is, the more of those things we have scattered around the state, the more reliable and redundant it is. Okay, so you can think of hash power like horsepower. Right now, we've got a little baby motor, but as this motor gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes more well respected. So if we go to the community of cryptocurrency enthusiasts and we say, build on our network, develop apps and dApps on our network, they go, well, how big is your mine? And we say, well, we've got it on a laptop right now that's sitting in our sister's basement and it's really great. They go, nice try. Call me when your hash power is bigger. Call me when your megawatt consumption is bigger. So in the beginning, I said, look, how big of a network do I need to build for the crypto world to take me seriously? Experts did the calculations and said 35 megawatts. I did my calculations, and that's 100 million megahash. So we need to build a mine that uses 35 megawatts of power for the world to go, yeah, okay. And that'll put us about 1/20th the size of the Litecoin Doge network, which means that we're taking 5% of the Litecoin Doge blocks. Hold on a second here. You're telling me that a mine in Texas built by a bunch of normal people are taking 5% of all the Litecoin Doge rewards? Yeah. How cool is that? We use their money to pay our electric bill. So then we're mining Texit Coin at the same time. It's called merge mining. So the bigger our mine, the more horsepower our mine has, the more respect we get from the global community, the more people build on our very reliable network, the more that generates transaction fees for the miners. Everything we bring in gets distributed every day to the miners. Hopefully that helps with some of your confusion, anonymous attendee. Jerry says, if you don't bring anyone in and out in $1,000, how long to recoup your money? About 200 days, Jerry. It's less if you help us build. Lisa says, my wallet is pinging with Texit transfers as you speak. Thank you, Bobby. That was at 7:13. You're welcome, Lisa. Can I send Texit Coin to my Ledger wallet? Yes, you can. You just need to get wrapped Texit Coin, which we just launched this past week. Go onto your Ledger wallet or go to wtxc.texitcoin.org and you can swap out your Texit Coin for wrapped Texit Coin, which is Texit Coin wearing a cool Ethereum jacket. That's it. Same coin, everything you know and love, but now it travels on the Ethereum blockchain. WTXC. It's cool stuff, guys. We're doing a lot of cool things over here. Will says, hi there. What's your suggestion on talking points around crowdsourcing? People seem to like that concept. How does Texit fit that narrative? Look, I like it a lot. Okay. When you say, look, we're crowdsourcing this mine, we're bringing a little bit of cash from this guy, a little bit of cash here, and we do three things with the money. We build the mine, we pay commissions to the people that are helping us grow, and we promote our coin. Really, really, really easy way of getting through some of these more challenging concepts. Look, if you try to explain the history of money, if you try to explain what cryptocurrency is, a lot of people are going to get lost and tune out. If you say, look, we're doing a Bitcoin redo by recreating this gigantic mine in Texas, we're crowdsourcing that mine. And every week we count up how much mining power was purchased or acquired through our reward program, and we buy that mining power every week, week in, week out. And it's so easy to prove. It's so simple to show up with receipts to our chat conversation and show you that we do it every week. And then the machines arrive and we snap a picture of them. We share that with you. And then we drop them in the soup and we share that with you. We got a long way to go to catch up on the sold hash power, but everything is bought, paid for every week. Number one, takes a couple days to get it here. And we're in the process of installing our first 40-foot immersion cooling super container in Victoria, Texas. Once it's ready, you'll be there. We're invited to be there for the party. But I love the crowdsourcing conversation. It's my favorite one. That's all we're doing. We're rounding up some cash. We're putting it to work. We've been good stewards of the money, and it's only getting bigger and better. Any tips on signing up new members? No, not really. I don't really do that so much anymore. Um, look, what it comes down to is almost everyone wants to get rich. Everyone's looking for the next hot crypto. Nobody knows what it is. It's like throwing darts at a dartboard. Is it Shiba? Is it Trump coin? Is it Hawk 2 Girl? We don't know. Our project has red flags and it has green flags. What are the red flags? We're doing crypto. Crypto's full of scams. We get it. Now, the red flag, we're using something that kind of smells like network marketing to build our community. Bit of a red flag. I get it. But we got some green flags too, and they're great green flags. Number one, you know who I am. Our address is on the website. You can drive past the mine. We do events every night of the week. Something's happening around DFW. You can go out and meet real people, look them in the eye, and see if you think that they're telling you the truth. Everyone's looking for the next big crypto. I think we've got it. In fact, I'm pretty darn sure. The question is whether or not it's worth it to take that $1,000 leap of faith to find out if we're right. If I'm right, it could be worth $1 million. Or you roll up your sleeves and it's big money. There's still plenty of opportunity for 1,000x returns in Texit Coin. But my suggestion is to talk to them about, how to tell the difference between a good crypto project and a bad crypto project. There's lots of bad ones out there. Another 100 or so are cooked up every day. What's the difference between a good one and a bad one? There's a real guy that runs it. He's really experienced in the realm of cryptocurrency. He's really experienced in the realm of honest money. This is a continuation of his life's work. All he did was swap out the gold and silver horse and buggy, build himself a little digital currency rocket ship, and he's invited us to join. And if you see that and you go, no way, man, scam, it's not for you. It's not for them. It's not for everybody. It's okay. We don't need everyone. We need 1 million people. And I know plenty of companies that have done this before with more than 1 million people. They did it the wrong way, mining Bitcoin. You cannot outmine China. You just can't. We're not competing against China. We're not competing against the mega banks. We're mining our own coin. We're doing it our way, and it's working. Patricia, did the dates change for Thailand? I thought it was September 16 through October 6. No, Patricia, the dates did not change. You just have it wrong. Thailand is September 16th through September 30th. After that, the group of people that won the top prize get to go on to Singapore for the Token 2049 conference and the Singapore F1. That is not included in your prize that you won by showing up best dressed at the baseball game. But you're welcome to win it. You got another week. We got until the end of next week, week 70. So we're in week 69 right now. You've got until Saturday, 7 p.m. on week 70. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday to accumulate enough sponsorships and points to win your way along with 100 of other people. Guys, I'm going to drop $500,000 on this Thailand trip. It's pretty cool. Texas Rangers, they get to go with a guest. Lone Star Rangers, I've paid for them to go first class. I want you to know what crypto rich is. I saw it in 2017. You're going to see it now. It's pretty cool. Are the D3 miners going out? Yeah, for the 700 plus club. Yes, we just sent out a mass email today. If you're between 700 and 2100 and you're in Texas, you got an email about the Mini Doge 3. We'd love you to have them. Remember, guys, we want to get these miners out. The more nodes we have set up, the more reliable our network is. There's huge incentive for us to get one into your house. To call miner teams that achieve 1 million each earn 1 million. Any individual miner that hits the 1 million mega hash club will get $1 million cash bonus. Yes. I think the answer is yes. I don't know what you mean by teams there, but just the individual miner will qualify. Bobby, thanks immensely for the concise explanation of the merge mining and competitive hash mining of decentralized transactions, funding the mining of Texit Coin. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Merge mining is not new. I didn't invent that. I did invent cross mining, and you will learn more about that as time goes by. Guys, we're doing cool stuff here, right? It's not all just, hey, we just got to get some people together and some money. We're like trailblazing as well. We're going to disrupt cryptocurrency industry. When like people say, hey, should I put another $1 billion into building out a power plant to make $3 a day mining Bitcoin? Those guys put $1,000 in and they're making $3, $5 a day themselves. I put $1 billion in and I'm going to be out of business 3 years. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way. that really closed an open question I've had and can move forward with it. It explains revenue from outside support of the entire global cryptocurrency market. Yeah, look, we're doing our own thing, right? But we still are playing in this gigantic cryptocurrency sandbox. So we want to do it a special way for us, but we also want to do it in a similar enough fashion that the industry is like, huh, well, that's interesting. Okay, okay. I mean, what do you think that Asia is going to say when we're taking 5, 10, 15, 20% of Litecoin Doge rewards? That's mind blowing to think that we're going to be taking their coins and they can't mine ours, but we can take yours. How do I get involved? Thanks, Richard. Kind words there. Will says, can you explain how other companies can use the Texas blockchain? Sure. Is there an opportunity to make money bringing in companies to use the blockchain? Yes. I don't know exactly how, but we're developing our own ecosystem the same way that Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum to a certain extent have their own kind of like things that are built and grow on there. Video games use the EVM. We'll be able to do that with our layer 2 as well. Casinos use blockchains to have verifiably provable outcomes. You know, okay, is video games and casinos like all that's out there for blockchain technology? No. We wrote our own software called Beavis, Blockchain Enabled Verification Information Service. It uses the Texit Coin blockchain. Every time it puts a record into the blockchain, it has to pay the miners to put that transaction into a block. You can find those opportunities just the same way that I can find those opportunities. But it won't be until we prove to the world that we've got a big and inexpensive, reliable, made in America blockchain that other people will start building on it as well. Now, I already know of a bunch of other projects, guys that have their own things that are kind of compatible with our, basic premises that are saying, yeah, I'd like to use your chain. Well, let me see. I'm going to build what I build on the Made in China chain or what I build on the Made in America chain. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense for me to do it here. So we'll find those opportunities. You'll find those opportunities. We don't have a comp plan yet for, creating an incentive to go out there and look for those, but we're working on that now because we're starting to wrestle with questions now of like, what's next? We're at 4% of the mine goal. I call it the tipping point. What? Hold on. You passed 10,000 people. You're at 1% of your community goal. Yeah. But man, it's growing fast. And just wait when we start getting our act together and send an email out to our community or let you know that you're only 1 point away from your next bonus. What do you think is going to happen on our growth then? Watch out. So we're starting to look into what's next. Now, I got a couple answers to that question already, right? The layer 2, the community currencies, the cross mining concepts. So there's a lot more coming, but it's just the beginning. You guys are going to have ideas. Other people are going to have ideas. There's a never ending supply of ideas of things that we can do with this once the network's built and that foundation is well established. Dan says, are you using on-grid or off-grid power? We're all on-grid at the moment, but we're looking into stranded gas for our off-grid. Thaddeus says, thanks. I finally understand cash potential. God bless you. Yeah, and if you need more information on cash potential, Thaddeus, just go to the help desk and search for cash potential, and you'll find out the full explanation there. Do you mind giving a little bit of your backstory? Well, I think I covered some of it. I'll give you a little bit more. IT background. I dropped out of high school in my junior year, started my own IT company, which is why I'm real comfortable around this IT stuff. I did public speaking for a while, 2005 to 2008, got out of that and got into coin manufacturing, coin design. Started a factory in 2012, went spectacularly bankrupt in 2013. If you need to go through my dirty laundry, it's out there on the internet. But I did something really big and really important, and I messed up. I made some mistakes. I got too big too fast. I didn't have control of it. I was young, naive, and I lost it. And I went to Asia for 7 years, sitting in timeout, licking my wounds, learning from my mistakes, figuring out what I really did right, what I really did wrong. We had something great, but again, we let it slip through our fingers. Learned all about crypto while I was out there. Learned all about Asian culture. That's one of the things that, again, makes me uniquely qualified for this project because we're manufacturing Texit Coin here in Texas. Our primary market for export is Asia. We're going to take our Texit Coin over to the other side of the world and have our trade with all get-togethers. We call it the Trade with All Summit. It's the speech that I gave at the Bitmain conference in Las Vegas a month ago. Look, we want to trade with everybody. 2 months ago? Was it 2 months ago already? Dang. That's what we want to do. And so all of the things that I did in my life, right and wrong, the things I did well, the things I did poorly, they have all brought me to this very place in time where I'm the only guy on planet Earth qualified to have this conversation with you. Tell me a higher ranking person in community currencies and alternative money and parallel currencies. I don't think there is one that made the original Bitcoins, been around crypto since 2012, didn't get in, doesn't have a string of failures in network marketing, doesn't have a string of scams and ICOs and NFTs and crypto. Nope. Pretty fun. It's a little bit of my backstory. Last question from S. Ritchie. Will this session get posted on the Texit webpage? I don't think it'll go on the Texit webpage, but it'll definitely go in our group. Talk to the person that invited you out here. Guys, look, if you believe me, if you think I'm being honest and upfront with you, if you think that I'm going to work hard for our mutual success, jump in. We got a lot of happy people on this rocket ship. It's our goal to make sure that you get a positive experience. If you're getting something out of Texit Coin, it's likely that you'll share our story with somebody else and bring them to a next call on Thursday. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. I'm going to post the recording here in a few minutes so that you can share it with your communities as well. Bring the feedback. I love to hear good feedback. It lets me know that what I'm doing is well received and working. I love negative feedback. It lets me know what I can do better. So please share your feedback, and we'll catch you guys again on the next call. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks again. Nice to meet you.